Good Monday morning and welcome to another episode of Coding in AL, and today we are going to look at the switch statement. And remember, let me type it here, switch versus else if.
Hii ni Tech na Msangi ya jishinde.com.
So the overall structure of your code is one of the main determinants as to how fast it will execute. Having a small amount of code doesn't necessarily mean that it will run quickly, and having a large amount of code doesn't necessarily mean that it will run slowly. A lot of the performance impact is directly related to how the code has been organized and how you are attempting to solve a given problem. Okay, that is just a generic view of how we look at the structure of the code. But in terms of usability of the code, a switch statement, if you have two distinct options, is not advisable to be used. If you have if this then this, two distinct options, the else if is the one that is preferable. Let me use an example. So I'll create a procedure for loops, control statements. Okay, let me just use my integer here, the default one. So for instance, but I need it here, var integer, my integer. Okay, so I am taking in an integer. This method is taking in an integer. So this integer, maybe when we have, if the value is 0, we want to do something. If the value is between 1 and 5, we want to do another thing, and then between 5 and 10, something else. And if not either of those values, then we omit it. So if we start with the switch, we have we'll use the case and then we'll have guess my integer of 1, for instance, and then call something. Let me just put a variable here. Which one should I use? Customer. Record of customer. So if it's 1, maybe call cast dot calc available credit. This does not have any impact, but I'm just using it as an example. And then you can have the option of saying if it's 2 to 4, then cast maybe dot something else, maybe available credit UI, and so on and so forth until we reach to a point where we have now 5 dot dot 10. Then we'll have this cast dot maybe this function, and else any other value we will call cast dot something, assist edit. No, can't use assist edit. Cast dot, come on, set range dot get. Let me use get bill to customer number. That's okay. So the code looks a little bit very readable because we have more than one options, and inputting such a range is easier using the switch statement, and it's a bit readable to do this. But now if we are to do the same with an else if, we'll have to say if my integer is 1, then then I don't know, cast dot calc available credit. You see, oh, I've put it in the wrong place. And okay, and then we come and say else if my integer is greater than 1 and and my integer is greater than 1 and it's less than 5, then we have another option here for that, just for that specific value. Come on, if my integer is greater than 1 and my integer is less than 5, this one should evaluate to a boolean. Then we have another value here, cast dot calc available credit UI, and then we come again to another block, else if my integer is greater than 4 and my integer is less than 11, maybe because we are looking at 10, then we do something here. That is the last thing that we are supposed to do, cast.calc available, whichever. So we are having something, what is happening here? So we are having so many options in our else if, even it becomes a challenge for us to really know. The code itself is not clean. What's wrong with this syntax? Just a minute. Then okay, we are having so many options. The code itself is not readable, as we can see, and we still have now another option, so that we can now call cast dot bill to customer, get bill to customer number. So these are the options that are, this code, this batch of code is doing the same thing as this, but the code that is readable to you and maybe to someone else who will maintain your code is the first one, definitely the first one. So if you have two discrete options, maybe we could only have this. If my integer is 1, then this, else we do every other thing here. Maybe we have two distinct options. This could be better than having a switch with two distinct options, but with all these options, the switch then is the one that is advisable to use, and this is the syntax that you use. You specify case and then the switch value off and then end. You can also have a switch containing option strings or enums. We can say maybe blocked, cast.blocked off, and then here we'll have maybe cast.blocked, and then all, and then we'll have the value maybe cast.get bill to customer number, and all the options can be listed here. This will be appropriate, but let's be careful while using the switch, especially for really static values like this enum, because it may make our application to be tightly coupled in a way that if you have used so many switch statements in your application and you add another option here in maybe this customer, you will need to update in all the aspects of the application and it can make your application, it can make it harder for you to update. So we use them, but you use it with caution. If for instance you're using a switch and you want to call or to switch based on the status, you want to switch the application to another module, I prefer you use the enums instead, that we looked at it in another that we had checked in another video, enums and interfaces, compared to using the switch. And then that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. May God bless you.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so that you don't miss the next one.